Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yamin of Revolution. Pray for Karmelo. And we got some F.B.A. news y'all can use. But before we get into that, y'all be sure to wipe y'all feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all.
Karmelo's legal team just put a move that nobody saw. Now, I know you guys are thinking that it is over for Karmelo Anthony, but it's actually just beginning for Karmelo. And you guys are going to have to stay tuned because today at 2:45 p.m. Eastern time, I need you guys to come back here because we will be having attorneys Andrew and Mike of the Not Guilty Boys, and they're going to break it down for you all because don't count Karmelo out because his attorneys, they bad.
Yeah. Okay, I'm listening. Go on. Yes, I'm typing it all down.
Let's get into it. Now, of course, we know that the Judge Roach was recused, which he should have been recused. But I guess some of you guys are maybe feeling some kind of a way about some things that you have heard as it relates to the Karmelo Anthony case. We are still Team Karmelo Anthony. We don't give a damn about no juvenile shit that whatever they said Karmelo was texting. And if you grown, you shouldn't care either, okay? What grown-ass lady should be concerned whether if not Karmelo said he liked wigs or not? I don't understand it. Some of y'all are very weird. I've learned that, you internet folks is weird as hell, okay? Because I don't understand why grown ass 50 old ass women, 60 and even 40 and 30, why are you hoes concerned about if Karmelo liked chicks with wigs or not? Okay. Are you bald headed under your wig? What's your problem? But anywho, I don't give a damn about any of that. But what I want you all to understand is Karmelo has some badass attorneys and they know exactly what they're doing. Let's get into this. Okay. I feel like I should have been an attorney. And I told y'all that I'm working on I'm trying to figure out how this is going to play into my life because I am definitely strongly considering law school, but I need to add it into my busy life. Okay. But yes, I want to do that. I want you guys to understand something. Judge Roach took the transcripts. I'm sorry, he didn't take the transcripts. He stopped the transcripts from being produced because what he wanted to do was prevent Karmelo Anthony from getting an appeal because he knew that the transcripts would have been required, but his attorneys outsmarted the Roach, okay? They went and got sworn statements. They also got his previous attorney to get on the stand. But you guys need to understand, he did not get a new trial. He lost it. But did you all expect those white tea people to stand up for injustice of Black people? I want you all to stop wanting to feel accepted by white people and just love you for who you are, okay? I want y'all to understand that was a strategic move that his attorneys used. I want y'all to understand with this gentleman agreement, there was nothing on the record, nothing. Mike Howard, given that sworn statement stating what happened. And now we got Mike Howard that had to get on the stand. We got the district attorney that had to get on the stand. Now you know what has happened is now a record has been created when there was no record. Remember, guys, this gentleman agreement was never on the record, okay? Now there is a record of this. So what his attorneys did was very freaking strategic, and they deserve all the credit because now all of that is now a part of the record. Not only is that a part of the record, the lies are a part of the record. And when I say lies, I'm going to get into one because you all need to do better, especially when you're reporting about real issues. Okay. These are real issues that affect people's lives. Some of you idiots are out there calling Karmelo a stalker, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself, especially when you ugly. Okay. Because some of y'all is just ugly. And I mean ugly in here. And you have the nerve to be on here talking about a 19-year-old with your ugly self, talking about he's a stalker. You don't even know what's going on. You wasn't at court. I wasn't at court either, but I know the game that these people play. If Karmelo was such a stalker, the girlfriend that they claim he was stalking was in court supporting the family, and she also was there to testify because the district attorney lied, and that's all he does is lie. Now, some of y'all is running with this narrative. Oh, Karmelo said this, he said that. Do you have kids or, young adults, kids or, 19, 20-year-olds there on the game? They yelling out all type of shit. I be hearing my son, shit. I'm like, boy, are you okay? So they're in the game. How would you like to die? That's part of the game. It's, you're in the game. So to try to drag another Black child, because he's still a damn child, you are sick and I don't like you. Okay. I don't like you because there's nothing more sicker than a grown ass person that's farting out dust coming for our Black kids. Okay. So let me make sure you idiots understand, because I know you just got to get the clicks and the views because you uneducated. You can't get a job. You can't do nothing else. Okay. Thank God for this whole internet, because if it wasn't for the internet, some of y'all will be on the streets. Okay. I don't give a damn if you like what I say. I say what I want to say. So let's get into the strategics about what Karmelo's attorney did. Karmelo's attorney got this on the record, which it was never a part of the record. Not only did he get everything on the record, the lies, the contradictions are also a part of the the record. Now, we started to talk about Karmelo's girlfriend. The reason why I wanted to bring that up is because that seems like the narrative that you nincompoops are running with, which is a lie. That young lady was in court, and if you were there, okay, or if you have the transcripts, they stated that they had spoke to her and she gave them a statement. And this is one thing about liars. It will come out. The truth will come out. And then after he was on stand, Bill stated he had never talked to her. Do y'all see how this works? So it proves right there that he put together false information, because this whole entire thing was a corruption, and it was RICO. Judge Roach needs to go to prison. The district attorney needs to go to prison. Now, I am going to give Mike Howard some kind of leeway because I don't know what his thought process was. I wasn't there. But at least he did come forward and set the record straight. Some of y'all may say, oh no, he was in on it too. I mean, I can agree to that as well. But at the end of the day, I want you all to know that Karmelo has a better chance now than he ever had, because now we even had the district attorney to say that, listen, we always make deals off the record. You might be doing things that's unconstitutional, but that don't make it legal. Okay. It doesn't make it legal. Also, I want you guys to understand, I was told that that judge was definitely leaning toward giving Karmelo a new trial. And I was told that all these different folks start coming in this courtroom. So something happened with this judge that his posture changed. And toward the end, he was like, well, just give me this stuff or give me what you guys have. I got to go and I'll send it through email. But guess what? Karmelo will come home. He will come home. So I want you all to know that what Karmelo Anthony's legal team just did was freaking genius. Freaking genius, because keep in mind, none of this information was a part of the record. What Russell Wilson and his team just did is they established a paper trail for everything they're going to use to overturn this verdict. And I feel like everything that happened, that they're going to just dismiss it, which means Karmelo is going to walk away free. He'll walk away with a free record because of the corruption that was happening in this case. This isn't, y'all got to understand, we are people, we make mistakes. This case was not a mistake. This was, we're going to put this boy in prison for 35 years. We're going to close the court. They did all of these things. Now, some people say, okay, well, they closed the court because of the public. I want y'all to understand this. They could have closed the court. The thing that they did wrong is they forgot to put it on the record, and then they forgot, or I'm not going to say they forgot, they just didn't follow the law. So it doesn't matter what you did or why you did it. The case in point is you didn't follow the law. So make sure you guys are back here today, Sunday, August 23rd at 2:45 Eastern time. And we'll have none other than the Not Guilty Boys, Mike and Drew. Make sure you guys are liking the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. And I will put some information in the description on how you can support the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Yeah. Okay, I'm listening. Go on. Yes, I'm typing it.
Shalom, family. Good to see you all. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to talk about Karmelo Anthony and how the new judge has denied his request for a new trial. Although that did happen, they still have to go through the appeal process. So he still can appeal the conviction that he received. But one thing we just got to understand, y'all, one thing I can honestly say, I have met some of the most beautiful people in my life from the South. The people down there, and I'm talking about our people, y'all. I'm not talking about all of them down there. I'm talking about our people. The people down there are the salt of the earth. They are some of the most beautiful people I've ever met in my life or in the South. But the drawback is I hate the politics in the South. I hate how the South is governed because it's all that remnant of chattel slavery. These people got deeply ingrained in them. They think we're still subservient to them. And they still try to talk all that equality to you. At the same time, they're treating you totally different, and they know it. And that's what I can't stand about the South. It is not equal down there. It improved, it improved a little, but it should be a lot further than what we're looking at. And we know why it's like that. We talk about our people having the slave mentality, but these white folks, they got the slave owner mentality in them still to this very day. And that's the only thing I really don't like about the South. But the people themselves, I like the people. But as far as everything else, that's why I'm not shocked that Karmelo did not get a new trial. And look who the deciding person was, another white male judge. I don't expect nothing decent from them. We haven't seen anything decent from them in centuries, and you're not going to see it now, y'all. You're just not. You're just not. I even got relatives. One of my cousins, they want me to come down there because they moved from New Jersey to Georgia. And since they've been down there, they've been trying to coax me down there to live too. I would love to live down there. I just don't like the politicking and the policing and the things they do down there. That's the part I don't like. But the people themselves, I would love to be around the people down there. I've had nothing but good experiences with our folks down in the South. And, y'all, that's right, dark-skinned brother. This is Texas we're talking about, y'all. This is Texas. So let's get into it. Before I do want to send out a reminder. Today is the final day for the goat milk leave-in conditioner and goat milk shampoo. You get your 40% off. And ladies and gentlemen, the sale will end tonight at 11:59 p.m. So grab it up while you can. I still have plenty left. So y'all, let's get into it. I know a lot of people were excited about a new judge, but if you got another white male judge and then you got the first white male judge, it's rare for them to go against each other like that. It is rare. Okay, y'all. Oh yeah, remember that's what Juneteenth comes from. They sure were the last one to end it, CJ filled. That's why we have Juneteenth, because of that. Yep, exactly. All right. Thank you for the ones, everybody.
Complicated, so make sure you pay attention. Karmelo Anthony is not getting a new trial. And after what came out in the court last week, I have questions. We learned there was a private off-the-record agreement to keep the troubled youth's backgrounds, both teenagers, away from the jury. Austin Metcalf had allegations involving racial slurs, bullying, and assault. Karmelo had allegations involving threatening texts, stalking, and assault. None of that came in. And Karmelo's former lawyer says that they had planned to put him on the stand, but all of this helped change that decision. So now the defense says the first trial was too controlled, too secretive, and unfair. The judge said no. 35 years still stands. And I'm still stuck on one thing. He was 17 years old, and now he could spend most of his life in prison. That is a hell of a sentence for a teenager.
Service Sam here with a Karmelo Anthony update, and we have some sad news, actually. Judge Chitty Bang Bang has denied Karmelo Anthony's request for a new trial. This is a bit shocking to me. I figured he would take until Monday to come back. They had just recused Judge Roach, but he's denying a new trial. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. Why would they have all this come out? I don't believe it's been even with what we saw from the Metcalf twins and what we saw with Karmelo Anthony's background. I think if anything, it made it extremely clear that he deserved a new trial and that the gentleman's handshake was not fair to him at all. So as for now, the 35-year sentence does stand. What do you guys think about this in the comments? I will keep you updated as it keeps coming in, but I'm just honestly in shock. I really believe that he would get a new trial in light of this information that we have seen now. We're not giving up. We're still saying that he deserves a fair trial. We're not saying anything more than that, but he does deserve a fair trial. And I don't believe he got one. I don't believe he got a jury of his peers. That handshake deal left out a lot of information that I think would have made the jury think differently, at least that his sentence should be reduced. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Secret Service Sam out Samson for president of the world.
Hello, my name is Courtney of Courthouse Couture. I'm a lawyer, but not your lawyer. And yes, I've been practicing law for 16 years in the state of Texas. And behind me, I have the order denying the new trial of Karmelo Anthony. After a 2-day, very detailed motion for new trial hearing, for Karmelo Anthony's new legal team established a legal record in a case that didn't have one, a case where there were no pretrial motions, seemingly no exchange of discovery, a very ambiguous gentleman's agreement or agreements resulted in Karmelo Anthony not testifying. Judge Chitty felt there was no need or cause for a new trial. This case has obviously been very polarizing, and even though Judge Roach, the initial judge in the Karmelo Anthony trial, didn't feel that race was a factor, it definitely was. But I can tell you that about 90 to 95% of criminal cases are actually resolved through plea bargain rather than trial. And that's one of the reasons that motions for new trial are very rare. The next steps for this case would literally include direct appeal. One of the things that I understood when this case started is that there is no winner in a murder trial. One family has obviously lost a loved one. One family is concerned about the fate of their loved one. Adding the circumstances in this case, there's no real winners at the end of the day. The online discussion around this has been very interesting. What I can tell you is part of the reason that I tried to remain unbiased and I really tried to think through this case, because the same year that I became a lawyer, my own cousin was brutally murdered. She was 8.5 months pregnant. She died. Her unborn baby died. Her fiance was murdered as well. It was all over TV, even on Nancy Grace. I understood from a deep place, this is not a case that you can talk about like it's a football game. It's going to be interesting to see what steps are taken next by the new defense team for Karmelo. I hope what people can actually take away are the community conversations that likely need to occur. So hopefully we can avoid something like this in the future. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Wow. This racist, they just denied Karmelo Anthony's trial. Black lives just do not matter. This is crazy, man, but we ain't giving up. Free Karmelo Anthony, you still coming home, but that's wild.
The new judge in the Karmelo Anthony case has ruled on whether or not there will be a new trial. Let's talk about it. The judge has decided not to grant a new trial, and according to a post by Teslin Figaro, who is clerking on this case, one of the attorneys released a statement. And the statement reads, "We are disappointed that the court denied our motion for a new trial. We respectfully disagree with the ruling and remain firmly committed to protecting our client's rights. We believe the issues raised in our motion are substantial and deserve meaningful appellate review. The denial of our motion does not end this case. We will continue to appeal in the Fifth Court of Appeals and pursue every legal remedy available to our client. Our commitment to our client has not changed. We will continue to advocate vigorously on behalf through every lawful avenue available." This is according to attorney Russell Wilson, who is working on the case. Now, I don't know what you guys think about this, but I genuinely believe that this family deserves justice. This ruling upholds a 35-year sentence. I cannot say whether or not I think, Karmelo Anthony is guilty or not, but I do think he deserves a true and fair hearing. And with all of the things that came out about the behavior of the Metcalf twins and the behavior of the Metcalf father, that is obviously very racist and very troubling, this young man deserves a free and fair hearing. And all of that information was held out of the first hearing. So I believe he deserves a new hearing. I would love to see justice prevail in this case. Let me know what you guys think of this ruling in the comments. Thank you for watching and follow me for more.
Unfortunately, the railroad of Karmelo Anthony continues. Not too long ago today, retired Judge Michael Chitty denied Karmelo's defense attorney's motion for a new trial. This is his statement here. Upon reviewing the motion, the record, the evidence and argument, the briefs and the relevant case law, the court has determined that the motion should be denied. The judge's order states, "It is therefore considered, ordered, and adjudged by the court that the motion for new trial is denied." But Karmelo Anthony's new defense team is definitely not going down without a fight, because now they plan to submit his case to the Courts of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. At the Court of Appeals level, judges will review the trial court's record to determine if legal errors occurred that affected the outcome of the case, which they did. There's no new trial and no new witnesses or evidence are introduced. So the judges will read the official transcripts and review the evidence from the original trial because they can't introduce any new evidence. Both sides will submit extensive written arguments detailing how the law or trial procedures were correctly or incorrectly applied. Lawyers from both sides will present their cases directly to a panel of 3 judges and answer their specific questions. And the panel will then vote and issue a written opinion to either affirm the original verdict, reverse it, or order a new trial. It's been a long uphill battle, and this fight is not over. This baby was railroaded, and he defended himself, which every Black child is allowed to do, defend themselves when they're approached by bullies and they feel like their lives are in danger. Justice for Karmelo. It's not over.
Okay, so I have some bad news, but do know this is not over. The appeal process will continue. This is just one of 3, but unfortunately, a judge has denied Karmelo Anthony a retrial. What was his name? Michael Chitty? Another white judge from Texas said, nope, denied. Look, here's the good news. They were able to remove, what was his name? John Roach? Whatever that guy's name is. The original judge that gave Karmelo a first-degree murder, that sentenced him to, 30-something years? That man was removed. And he should be, because he had a relationship with the father of Austin Metcalf. That at least is good. Unfortunately, the new judge, Michael Chitty, wasn't much better. Look at him. But that's okay. We all figured that the first appeal was not going to work. The one I'm looking forward to is the one in Dallas. That one I think he has a shot at. And then after that, I think it's the Texas Court of Appeals. That's the highest court. If he gets a no in Dallas and then the Texas Court of Appeals, then yeah, it's a wrap. He's stuck. He'll have to serve all his 30 years. So I'm hoping the one in Dallas is the one that saves him. We'll have to see. I already knew they were going to say no in Collin County. That place has never, ever been good to people like me. But Dallas, there's a shot, but we never know. Keep your prayers up for Karmelo Anthony. You've seen the new evidence that's come out. You know that Austin Metcalf and his brother were drawing 3Ks and racist remarks on walls, graffiti style, bullying people. They have a very violent history. They got them in trouble multiple times in school. Don't lose hope. It's not over until that third court says no. So I will keep you up to date on that. Stay hopeful, trust your gut, and always know you're not crazy.
You know, unfortunately, I wish his trial didn't even have to be in Texas, or if they could move it somewhere else. You know, his appeal, that would be nice. But as long as he's in that same county where Austin was unalive, I really don't think he has a chance in that location. This is just my opinion. I don't believe he's got a chance in that location. I believe they're going to have to move that trial somewhere else for him to get a fair chance. But in that county alone, I would not be surprised if the second judge is tied to the family. You know, look, some people have really, truly changed in the South. Some have. And some, like Austin Metcalf's father, still act like it's the heart of Dixie. And he's running around with the Klan. You know, a lot of them still act that way down there. It is the truth. And if this judge is tied to the Metcalfs, unfortunately, I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked. He is not going to get a fair chance. in that county that he's in. He's not. And it's very obvious. He is not going to get a fair chance in that county. I hope the appeal can be somewhere else. I hope it can be somewhere else for his sake. And we will see. I'm definitely going to keep up with this case. You know, I think there's a lot of interest in it. And I just don't think a 17-year-old, because he was 17 at the time when this whole thing happened, I don't think a 17-year-old should have been hit with no first-degree murder. He was underage. He should have been treated like a juvenile. So I see so many things not right about this whole case, but unfortunately, you got to go face to face with these judges that have a lot of predispositions about Black folk. Yeah, you're not going to get anywhere. Like I said, in that county, you're not going to get anywhere. Well, Austin was rotten, but those twins, period, were rotten. Yeah, those twins were rotten. Even other people, I have not seen no child that they went to school with come out and talk about how great they were. All of it is negative. Everything you hear about those twins is negative. I even saw a story yesterday where it said Austin punched his own mother in the face. Okay? He punched his own mom in the face. I was reading that yesterday. So, yeah, he was rotten to the core.
The judge, the new assigned judge in the Karmelo case, he emailed his ruling, and I knew it was going to be, we knew what that was going to be when he said he was going to email the ruling. When he said he was going to email his ruling, I said, oh, yeah, they're not going to have a new case. So he emailed his ruling, and they're not doing a new case. They're not doing a new case. This is what the judge said, ladies and gentlemen. He's very vague about it too. They were very, very vague about his ruling. He didn't elaborate at all. He was like, yes, I decided that there's not going to be, the motion for the new trial is denied. Just real vague. Didn't give a reason, nothing. Didn't give a reason or anything like that. Just real to the point, real basic. Now, there's some speculation because this judge was so vague about it. Because he was so vague, many people are speculating what his motives were to deny a new trial. Was he protecting the optics of that little gentleman's agreement that was popping off between the prosecutor and the defense, the initial defense? See, during the trial, there was this so-called gentleman's agreement to keep out certain character evidence about Karmelo and Austin Metcalf. So prosecutors said that this was to keep things from getting inflamed knowing that Metcalf had a long history of being a suspected white supremacist, spraying racist spray paint and all this stuff. So that was part of that little janky agreement. Also, some people are like, well, this judge, I mean, this is a Texas judge. I mean, does he want to maintain that conviction quota? So in that system, see, a conviction is a win for the district attorney and that broader apparatus. Karmelo got that 35-year sentence, so a judge overturning that and declaring a new trial, that makes the original trial judge, John Roach, who publicly said the jury got it right, that makes him look incompetent, and that disrupts the system's win column. Y'all hold on one second. My staff. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. There's something happening down at the museum right now. There's a lot of people down there, and they're trying to find some USB cords or something. But again, a lot of people are speculating as to what this judge was thinking, why this judge made his ruling he decided to deny a new trial. Now, was this a fear of YT backlash? Again, this case is full of racial overtones. It's gained national attention. This is a racialized trial and case. So if this YT judge were to grant a new trial for a black teenager convicting of unaliving a white male, the dominant society, he's going to be on the outs. They're going to look at him as like getting off code. So he's going to get backlash from his own community. That's going to be swift and loud. Understand, these judges are political figures. So, they'll make decisions to appease their community. You got to stay on code. He wants to be still invited to the supper clubs and the golfing events and all that stuff. And also many people speculate that this judge could have been on this denial of a new trial to validate the double standards in self-defense laws. See, when Black Americans claim self-defense, it's rarely respected by the system the same way it's respected for others. Karmelo's defense was that he was defending himself during the confrontation. Now, if the judge grants a new trial and acknowledges that the original trial might have compromised his ability to testify to that self-defense, well, that sets a precedent. And the system, they prefer to maintain the standard where Black self-defense is immediately dismissed as aggression. And also, this judge might have just wanted to uphold the trial judge's authority. Yeah, see, the new legal team argued that the original trial judge, Judge Roach, had rules that were way too strict and too limited. It limited public access. So this judge, Judge Chitty, if he granted a new trial based on Roach's conduct, low key, that could have undermined a fellow judge, even though he dismissed him from the case altogether. And understand, sometimes the legal system operates like a fraternity. They cover for each other and they'll stay on code with each other. And that means don't publicly embarrass one of your own, you see. So a lot of people feel a certain way about the decision, but we got to look at it from another side. Let's look at it from another side, family. Actually, the defense, Karmelo's team, family, they could have been doing a chess move. Listen what I'm saying. I want y'all to follow me. Actually, when we start looking at a lot of things, this could actually be a chess move from Karmelo's defense team. All right? I want y'all to follow me on this. Oh yeah, because they're going to still file the appeal. They're still working on the appeal. Understand something. Now the defense team, they kind of knew that these judges might stay on their little code with each other, whatever. But the goal, what it seems like, was to force an evidentiary hearing. So what they did with this situation, they got the prosecutor and all these people to go on record to talk about these little shady backroom deals they were doing. That's very important. So by doing that, they legally cornered the original prosecutor, that Bill Werski guy, and the defense attorney, the former defense attorney, Mike Howard. So they forced them both to take the witness stand under oath. So now all of their little dirty tactics are now permanently documented in the court transcripts. And that's gold, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that's 24 karat gold when they go to the appeals court. So this denial, that wasn't necessarily a loss, ladies and gentlemen. This might be a blessing in disguise. You see, it might be a little tactical sacrifice to secure the ammunition needed for the appeal. Again, like I said, what they really did in this situation was expose the shadow docket confessions on record. See, before this the hearing that just happened, the defense couldn't legally prove that the original trial was rigged behind closed doors. Now they got sworn testimony from the state's own prosecutor admitting to this gentleman's agreement that was never put in writing. So now the defense can take this directly to the appellate court and prove that the trial wasn't decided in front of a jury, but it was orchestrated in a back room. And the appellate court, they cannot ignore sworn admissions of an off-the-record shadow docket. All right? And under oath, these lawyers admitted that they colluded to hide Austin Metcalf's history of bullying Black students and using them damn racial slurs. And they justified this by claiming they wanted to turn the temperature down and all that stuff. So now this new legal team, they can argue on appeal that the court actively suppressed evidence of a damn suspected white supremacist and his aggression to protect the image of him. So then by hiding Metcalf's racist history, the state deliberately handicapped a Black man's right to establish a credible fear for his life in a self-defense claim. Man, they better use all this stuff and use it to their advantage. And they have to lock in on the blatant Sixth Amendment violation under the U.S. Constitution. See, they guarantee a fair and public trial. Public is the key word, public. That's in the Constitution. During the hearing, the new defense, they got it on record that Judge Roach, he violated the Waller standards by issuing this gag order, banning live streaming, kicking out the public out of the courtroom and limiting a few dozen pre-selected seats. So the appellate court, they look specifically for this procedural and constitutional error that happens in cases like this. So having the state admit under oath that they ran this little closed door, secretive little weird trial.
Revolutionary salute to our family. Rap Snacks 5 to Rap Snacks 2532 for the 10 jewels to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. I absolutely appreciate that love. Soldier salute. I appreciate
that. Gives the defense a silver bullet for reversal and also proving ineffective assistance of counsel. See, an appeal also hinges on whether or not the defense had adequate legal representation. His man, go look at the tweets. I was talking about that damn defense attorney that Karmelo had. He was trash. Dude, that guy was trash. I'm like, this dude is damn near trying to lose this case. He was so damn trash. I was saying this even before the first verdict. I'm like, man, this lawyer is running up majorly. What's up with this damn lawyer? So now they got him on the stand and basically admitted that he compromised his own client to appease the good old boy network. So now these new lawyers, well, they got official transcripts showing the original defense agreed to a strategy to prevent them from calling expert witnesses on Karmelo and his adolescent brain development and epilepsy and things like that, because all of that should have been brought in. because I was talking about that before, how Karmelo has epilepsy. If somebody's socking on him and beating on him, this guy could have just he could have been unalive. So he had to defend himself. So they covered all this stuff up to honor this little unwritten deal with the prosecutor. So this proves that Karmelo was legally abandoned by the people paid to protect him. You see? And also that 11th hour sabotage of Karmelo's testimony. See, the crucial part of any self-defense case is the defendant telling their own story. And the new testimony, they revealed that because the state broke their little secret deal at the very last minute, Karmelo was given only 10 minutes to decide whether or not he was going to take the stand. And ultimately he didn't. And the defense was reduced to asking his mother 3 pre-approved questions. So the new lawyers, they're going to show this and say, hey, they're going to go to the appellate court and say that the prosecution maliciously cornered a teenager, stripping away all of his fundamental rights to testify on his own behalf. You see? And the Collins County District Attorney's Office, they put out a statement citing they acted ethically and they ran a clean trial and all that nonsense. Their sworn admissions from this hearing, it dismantles that whole narrative. So on appeal, credibility is everything. So this new legal team, they're going to have to use these transcripts to demonstrate that the higher courts, that these prosecutors engaged in willful manipulation and evidence suppression so they can get a conviction quota against a young black man. So if they go in here correctly, ladies and gentlemen, they can possibly get the whole case overturned. They can get the conviction overturned if they correctly go in there and just whoop ass with it. So hopefully that's what they get to do. Hopefully they just get the shit overturned altogether instead of a new trial. Just get this thing thrown out. So hopefully they're on their game. Somebody said, can y'all hear me? Somebody said they're having difficulty hearing me. I got my fans on because I'm in my office. Can you guys hear me good? All right. Can y'all hear me good? Are we good in here? All right. Let me see. Syntax. Yeah, I saw that. And that whole thing where there were text messages, and yeah, they're going to try to use that where they were saying Karmelo sent text messages to his girlfriend that he wanted to poke somebody and then lick the knife and all that. What they're going to do, they have to use the same defense that they use for Kyle Rittenhouse. Because remember, I love to go back to Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse, that set a precedent. Kyle Rittenhouse, before he was pew-pewing people at that protest, there's video of Kyle Rittenhouse saying, man, if I had a pew-pew, I would pew-pew them damn protesters, because he was looking at some protesters and he was fantasizing about pew-pewing them. And when they tried to bring that evidence to the Kyle Rittenhouse case, they said, no, one don't have nothing to do with the other. Just because he was fantasizing about pew-pewing protesters and he ended up doing it, there's no correlation. So there's no correlation with Karmelo and Metcalf. He didn't mention Metcalf. He didn't say he was going to go poke up Metcalf. You can't say it was premeditated. He didn't know Metcalf was going to go put hands on him. So yeah, we're going to use the same defense as Kyle Rittenhouse. Yep, they said it's okay for him to fantasize about doing certain things to protesters, and he ended up doing it. That was really premeditated. But Karmelo, yeah, it wasn't premeditated. That wasn't premeditated. And I don't know if he said, that's what they said he said. I don't know how true that is. All right, but let me get the family in here. We got a lot of people in here. Let's get y'all in here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get you in here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Y'all raise the hands. Let me talk to the family early because we do have a lot of people in here. What's up, my brother Michael Warden? War Talk's in here. Let me see. I'm going to just get random people since y'all not raising hands. All right, let me just do it like that. I'm just going to get random people in the building. Y'all, I'm going to just draft you. I just see people in the request queue, and I'm just going to get them on in. All right. I'm just getting in random people. Okay, let's get who is that? Dominic King. Let's get Dominic in here. Dominic. All right. Dominic, what's up, Dominic? Mr. Dominic.
Hey, how you doing, Tariq, man? I'm a long time listener, man.
I love that, brother. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm F.B.A, man. I'm out of Atlanta, man.
Love that. Love it. What's on your mind?
Nah, man. So damn.
Don't have a brain
I'm just
fart
showing love,
on
bro.
air.
Goddamn. Came up with a blank, man. I'm just showing
Okay,
love.
we'll get you back. We'll get you. Well, thank you so much. We'll get you back later. Y'all stop smoking, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all stop smoking. Come on, y'all smoking. Stop again. Hey, beloved, how are you, dear?
I'm so happy to be online with you.
I'm happy to have you here. How are you, beloved?
Oh my God, I'm so nervous. So along with the
nervous.
Karmelo Anthony text, I got like some footage of Anthony Sinks. He's another brother that's locked up in Kansas getting tortured right now. And I have all of the footage and I just don't know what to do. I know he's getting tortured. And I know that's like Anthony Sinks.
Who was that?
It was another self-defense case that went pretty public. He got into it with a boxer and he thought the boxer was going to pull a gun, but he didn't have a gun. So Anthony Sinks pulled his gun and he shot him.
Oh, I love TikTok Shop. I love TikTok Shop.
Oh, we love TikTok Shop. Yeah, of course. So, yeah, I'm just happy that you're here.
Thank you so much, beloved. Send me that information and let's watch it. Let's TikTok friendly language. I love TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop has some of the greatest deals on all types of clothes, and TikTok Shop has deals on flip-flops. They got deals on curling irons. TikTok Shop has so many great deals, and I love TikTok Shop. All right, don't y'all love TikTok Shop? We love TikTok Shop. They got Crocs, they got pogo sticks, they got all types of stuff. They got waist trainers if your back big. They got all types of great deals on TikTok Shop. So I love TikTok Shop, and I'm sure you'll like TikTok Shop too. And your big back will love to sweat off some of the meat and the girth if you put on one of those TikTok Shop waist trainers. So go to TikTok Shop and get you some great deals, ladies and gentlemen. I love TikTok Shop. All right, let me get some more people on here. All right. Gotta watch your language here. Gotta watch your language. All right, let's get Fist something. All right. Let me see. All right. You can't send requests, Isadora? Hold on, Isadora. You can send a request. Isadora, you can send a request, Yeah, just make a request to get on up. And yeah, everybody else is making requests, so you should be able to do a request, ma'am. All right, you should be able to do a request. Let's get Jay Lindsay. Jay Lindsay in the building.
What up, Rick? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother Jay. What's going on, sir?
What's up, bro? I'm F.B.A, man. My family's from Mississippi and Texas, bro. I just want to say I support you, man. And to the Karmelo Anthony thing, I want to say definitely I don't agree with the denial. I think his parents made a mistake getting a white T lawyer.
Yeah.
I think they should have made sure they got a black lawyer. My brother's an attorney in LA, so we kind of talk about the case often. He told me that he thought it was going to get denied, but this last appeal, I think he does have a good opportunity.
Yeah.
Because it's going to get moved to Dallas County.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. What county is it in now?
It's in Collin County.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he'll have a good chance there because you got more black people in that county. So possibly. So we'll see. I'm praying for the brother.
Yes, indeed. We're gonna keep him in our prayers. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
Yes.
This is T.S. Giselle.
Yes, it is.
Uh-oh.
The legendary icon, the original first lady of F.B.A.
Not really. Nope. Not in real life. But go ahead, T.S. Giselle. How have you been?
I definitely was elected. Anyway, I've been
by
wonderful.
Us, go ahead.
I definitely was. Anyway, you're not about to strip my title from me.
Yeah.
Are you back in the country, Tariq? Because they say you've been over there in Japan.
Yes, I was over in Japan. Yes, I was. And I saw you over there. I saw you when I was there. We had a Godzilla sighting. And I said, damn it, how did T.S. Giselle get over here to goddamn Japan? But what's on your mind? What is on your mind?
I know a man with a faded hairline ain't trying to diss me, okay?
I know somebody with a damn holiday heart wig ain't trying to talk crazy about hair. But go ahead, T.S.
I look good, okay? Let's be very clear on that.
All right. So what's on your mind?
Tariq, what happened to reparations?
We still on it. What do you mean? What happened to it? It ain't.
I heard you talk about reparations since I was about to say George Bush, honey, since Donald Trump got to the White House.
We still talking about it. We're still up. Your Democrat handlers, let them know we're still on Democrat. We're still on reparations business. We ain't left it alone. We're still on it.
I just ain't heard it about it. So when we having the next reparations rally?
Well, probably right after the Pride rally that you're having down in Atlanta. But thank you so much. All right. Let me see who else we got. Let's get some other people in here. We got a lot of folks in here. A lot of people in here. What's up, Lee Pop TV in here? Lee Pop TV. Miss Lee, hop on in, Miss Lee. What's up, Lee?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Oh my God.
How are you? Is it Lolly?
It's Lollipop TV, but my real name is LaQuisha.
Hey, look. Oh, I love that. That's a nice F.B.A. name right there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where you from? Louisiana? Where you from?
Well, actually, I'm here in Miami, Florida, but my parents and grandparents from Dothan, Alabama, and Valdosta, Georgia.
Oh, okay. Love that. How's everything out there in Florida?
It's been pretty good for me.
What you do out there? What you do out there?
I work in a wholesale store for lighting in the accounting department.
Oh, cool. So what's on your mind, LaQuisha?
Well, nothing. Actually, I pressed the button by mistake, but I just wanted to tell you that I love what you're doing. Keep up the great work.
Yes,
and
I appreciate it.
That's about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. All right, now who is this playing music? Yo, Style Goddess. What the hell are you playing? Okay. Hold on, let me get.
Willie D Live.
What's up, family? The Nolan Wells investigation just got even more complicated. We now have threatened legal action against the Reverend Al Sharpton. A fight over how Nolan Wells' phone will be examined. And dun, 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 the prosecutor saying that, hey, we are not going to release any information on this thing. We're going to keep it sealed until it reaches a grand jury. So instead of getting clear, the battle over who gets to say what and who gets to see what is getting bigger. So the question is, will there be justice for Nolan Wells? Al Sharpton has now been threatened with a defamation lawsuit. Attorneys representing Warren Hudson, Jack Patalo, and Morgan Seymour sent Al Sharpton a pre-suit demand letter demanding apologies and retractions over statements they say falsely implicated the three friends. Al isn't backing down. His response was essentially, bring it on, suckers. Ain't nobody scared of y'all. Bring the lawsuit. Why is Al so confident? Well, he argues litigation could put people under oath and potentially produce information about Nolan's final hours. that creates an interesting legal gamble, fam, because a defamation lawsuit could potentially mean depositions, discovery, and sworn testimony. Yeah, man, sworn testimony. That means you lie, you fry. So the question becomes whether litigation intended to stop accusations could actually expose more information. That's really what it's about. And here's the deal, fam. I don't think they want that. I don't think they want that. I really don't think they want to see all of that. Because them dudes who was on that boat, those dudes who are named in the lawsuit, they're not going to be able to hold it together under cross-examination. Yeah. When you put those experienced lawyers on them, it's going to be different than going into that friendly territory where you got Black people hate them, Tatum, interviewing them in a nice, comfortable, friendly environment where they're going to get these softball questions. No, they're going to get grilled and they're going to get checked real hard. It's important to understand this, fam, that allegations aren't evidence. Okay? So what do they have to be afraid of? I mean, it's just allegations. Allegations are not evidence. So why are they shaking so much? These so-called three friends, as attorneys maintain their clients had nothing to do with Nolan's disappearance, are deaf and deny they possessed or accessed Nolan's phone. Then there's Nolan's phone. The family and the DA previously agreed to a jointly coordinated forensic examination, potentially involving the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College Digital Forensics Lab and possibly the FBI. The disagreement appears to be over how it's done, not simply whether it's done. The family has sought an agreed forensic protocol covering chain of custody, preservation, access to extracted data, and what happens to the device afterwards. That's something that nobody's really talked about, right? What happens to the device afterwards? Now, I can tell you from personal experience, after they go through your phone, it's still your phone, so eventually they do return the phone to you. No matter what they find on it, they typically will return the phone to you. Now, you attorneys out there who follow the channel, y'all can chime in and clarify if need be. But that phone could be critical to this investigation. Calls, messages, deleted data, timestamps, and then you have other digital information that could potentially help reconstruct Nolan's final hours. That's depending on what forensic examiners recover. Meanwhile, you got the public. The public isn't getting the state's evidence yet. The DA says investigative evidence and the state autopsy findings will remain sealed pending grand jury review. That secrecy has two sides. Prosecutors argue they're protecting the integrity of an active investigation and grand jury process. Nolan's family and the public understandably want answers right mother and now. Now let's talk about the independent autopsy. The independent autopsy hasn't solved the mystery either. It's classified Nolan's cause and manner of death as undetermined, pending further evidence. Yeah, pending, well, further investigation, okay? So we're approaching a major crossroads. Litigation is being threatened. Digital evidence remains contested. The state's evidence isn't public. And ultimately, a grand jury could decide whether the evidence supports criminal charges. Give me a thumbs up, fam, if you think the evidence supports criminal charges. Thumbs down if you say, no, man, they ain't got enough, Willie D. They ain't got enough. They ain't got enough. I'll give you a few moments to think about it. Okay, time's up. I was on Elliot Connie's IG earlier today, and he reminded everybody that, as we, pursue these narratives and we talk about the phone, we talk about who was on the boat, we talk about the seat tow call, we talk about the DA's lack of transparency, the threats being made, all of these different things that that dominates the headlines in this case. We absolutely cannot lose focus of the reason we're having these discussions in the first place, and that is Nolan Wells. And the question, what happened to Nolan Wells? How did he die? How did he die? That's important, but it's also important to remember who Nolan Wells was. Yeah, it's important to remember who he was. That's the really story that's going to outlast all of these narratives. Who Nolan Wells was, like keeping his memory alive, because from all accounts, he was a good dude. He was raised to be respectful, hardworking, loving, caring, generous, goal-oriented. All these things that you want your child to be. He was all of that. Unfortunately, it looks like his choice of friends were not all of that. Everybody's fighting over narrative. Meanwhile, the one question that started all of this hasn't been answered. How did Nolan Wells die? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Good one, y'all. We got proof that they don't erase some shit out of Nolan Wells' phone. Not only that, we found Janetta Brantley, the audio engineer of the CETO call who separated the voices. We found her TikTok, y'all. Y'all not gonna believe what she broke down, because nobody was thinking about this and nobody mentioned it. And when you think about what she about to say, it's going to let you know that this CETO call is real, even though we already knew it was real. But this is definitive proof that it's real. Y'all ain't going to want to miss this one. Y'all make sure y'all hype this video. Make sure you're hitting the like button and make sure you subscribe. Check this out, y'all.
Yeah, not Mr. Bobs came through with the tea and told us that Snapchat sends all of their users every 4th of July a happy 4th of July message, text message, whatever it is. You don't believe me? Let him tell you.
You gotta laugh at how stupid y'all are. So Snapchat will send you a text every holiday. Happy 4th, a whole thing. Y'all deleted that.
Because I know how y'all are is where's the proof? Here's the proof. I dropped it in chat and this is what he said. That we got the proof in the pudding. I think y'all deleted some stuff out the Snap, out of the phone. I think y'all really did. Warren, you said he didn't take anything. He didn't. Your words. But have a great day, because that was some tea right there.
Here's the problem with the DA's last statement on the Nolan Wells investigation. If you read it fast, or you're not a lawyer or a former prosecutor like me, you may have missed it. So let me show you. Right after Nolan's family's lawyers published letters they sent to her office, the DA told the press she doesn't have the same freedom as private individuals. People, she says, may publicly adopt a narrative and choose one fact over another, who may be able to control what bits of information they share, and whether it's in context, twisted, or misconstrued. I totally get that sometimes the DA can't publicly comment on an active investigation, but that's not all she said. The problem is the timing, the framing, and the selectivity with which the DA chooses to engage the media. You know when she was silent? When attorney Tyler Cox went on the Dan Abrams show with the narrative that the victim's family wasn't cooperating with her office. Crickets when Judge Ashley Cole, an elected judge with additional obligations under the judicial conduct rules, publicly shared bits of information surrounding an active investigation. But now, when the victim's family tries to clear up confusion, she decided it was time to go to the press and talk about misconstruing facts and choosing narratives. Only when Nolan's family's lawyers speak up. She says public commentary doesn't make a speaker transparent. But what is transparent is how questionable law enforcement's engagement has been with the victim's family. You know, the people who loved and raised Nolan, the people who just want answers.
Y'all, look at this. Do y'all see this? This was about an hour ago. But didn't Reverend Al Sharpton already tell y'all that he challenges, and now he's telling y'all right here that he welcomes this alleged litigation, because he said now that he can get the truth. You know, he's been telling y'all, he told y'all that on at the funeral, and he says apparently while he was doing the visual on Nolan's birthday, he said that he didn't say, he doesn't know anyone's name or was specific, but he said 3 of those boys logged into the Zoom, because I guess they must have been Zooming the vigil, and they logged into it, and he said that he would appreciate for them to come forward. How is that defamation when he's asking questions? We all have the right to ask questions. But anyways, you see what he said right here? It's about to get messy, y'all.
Y'all go ahead and screenshot, read it. See, what people fail to realize is that Reverend Al Sharpton is well connected. When you got somebody that's been in the game as long as him, he is not to be messed with, y'all.
Y'all remember on July 27th when Brandon Tatum shared the breaking news, which was supposedly the evidence of the young adults on the boat being towed, right? If you don't remember, let me show you right quick. More importantly, let me make sure we all see the date.
July 27th.
How is it that at this latest interview, that same exact evidence is now evidence of them on the phone with Cito?
I just want to make this very clear and abundantly clear for the audience. Are you saying that the video that I posted, which was like a 3-second loop, now I have a lot more of the video, but to not expose people that have nothing to do with this, I only posted the smaller part, the 3-second part. Are you saying during that time, a portion of that, why it was on the phone with Cito, so a portion of that is the Cito call, and that Nolan is not on that boat?
Correct. Which one is it? How can the same set of photos and videos be used as evidence or proof of 2 different things? How is it also evidence of them being on the phone with Cito calling for a tow, needing a tow, while also being towed. Make it make sense. See, the difference between me and Tatum is I've been transparent and honest since day one.
You put out, Brandon, that a clip of the boat when Wyatt was on the phone with Cito.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Bourne, and our village pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
You can literally almost see down to the deck.
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
And as you can see in that picture, everybody is completely casual while Wyatt's on the phone with Cito. Yeah. Boldly clear that Nolan was not on the boat with us.
If we were sinking, yes. Oh, we're on the ground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
We're in 31 freaking feet of water, lady. Get out of here. Listen, bro. They want this story to die down so much, but we got to refresh in their minds. Janetta Brantley has a TikTok, y'all, and it's underscored that girl Netta. Watch what she say for all the people that are saying she forged that audio from the Cito call. Check this out, y'all.
If I supposedly used magic AI or some other Hollywood level audio trickery on a publicly available recording, I got a couple of questions. First, where exactly did I get everyone's voices from if I've never met or heard any of those young adults before? One. And two, and most importantly, how did I randomly invent the name Bart? I'd never heard that name connected to this case before. So according to the conspiracy theory, I not only fabricated voices out of thin air, I also somehow guessed the name of someone who was allegedly there. That's not audio engineering, that's psychic powers or something. And at some point, the explanation requires more imagination than the audio ever did.
Your girl is actually getting some rest today. And while I was getting some rest today, I went back and watched the second interview again. And I don't know if I shared this piece of gem with you guys, but let me share it with you just in case I haven't. Listen.
Oh, the audio comes back, and all of a sudden we can hear Nolan yelling in the background, screaming, we're screaming about how he's dead.
What did you just say, Warren? Let's slow it down.
Oh, the audio comes back, and all of a sudden we can hear Nolan yelling in the background, screaming, we're screaming.
At this point, we already know that the Cito call is real, but Warren yet confirms again himself out of his own mouth saying that Nolan was in the background screaming. And then you saw how he paused, and then he's saying, they just telling on themselves. Like, we wouldn't know, because from what I've known, no one has never said anything about, we literally are hearing Nolan screaming in the background. We've said a lot of people, other people that were on the boat were screaming, not Nolan. I digress, though.
I remember seeing a post that Bart Edmiston allegedly posted and said, Junior came home and he and Brooks took Hawk out trout fishing. Brooks caught the one that didn't get away, ... in the back of the head. It wasn't until July 22nd that Ben Grump stated the autopsy of Nolan Wells.
Focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head, the occipital region.
This was stated July 19th. Is it a coincidence that Bart Edmiston allegedly posted this 4 days before the autopsy results even was made into the public's eye? This is one of the alleged 3 boats that they used to go to Horn Island July 4th to friend Bart on the way up to Horn Island. But if you look at this photo, I don't see Warren anywhere.
There is a lot of people asking questions about this boat video. And when I read the comment section, you're all asking the same thing. What vote is that? Was that the same day? Is that the same day? Is that the same day? No, I don't believe it's the same day. The main reason why she posted the video in the beginning was to show that he was with a group. And if the young man was saying that the group was so tight-knit, this must be the same people who he was with on 4th of July. That's all she was saying when she posted the video. That's it. Again, nothing is stating facts when we're reacting to these videos. We're not insinuating that these are facts. This is what happened. These videos is just to get people thinking and put things together. On top of that, have a record of everything, y'all, because we cannot rely on the news. We cannot rely on the people of Mississippi.
12-13 for sure on this boat. Who's that? Who is that back there? That's Nolan, right? That's Nolan on this boat. That is not a tide line. It's not a tide craft. It's not a Triton, and it's not a Palm Beach. Okay, so long as.
But one thing we can say is that is Nolan Wells right there.
Got us over here thinking we're looking at the right information and dissecting a CETO call on a Triton and all this shit. He's the supervisor. He runs the joint. He runs Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, MDMR, putting out these reports to keep y'all busy looking for a Titan and a tide line, a tide craft, and a Palm Beach. And none of it has to do with what happened to Nolan that day, okay? Not only is Mr. Freeman here, the boss, writing the report, he happens to just also happen to work for Forensic Science Services, LLC. So don't think that if you're a mama looking to find out the truth, you might be able to go hire a company doing forensic services about marine shit and go get the truth, because he works for them too.
They all connected.
This is for those that are honestly looking for the truth. I don't care whose feelings anything I say hurt. I don't care. I don't care about anybody's feelings, and neither does the truth. And the truth's all I'm looking for here, okay? Anybody that's meant to hear this, God's going to have you here today to hear what I've got to say, because nobody else is telling you what I'm telling you in this moment. No one. I don't know who's responsible for the actual death of Nolan Wells. That I don't know. I know all these people are a part of covering up what the heck it ever was. People at CETO, the people at MDMR, all of them, all of these people have participated, including Tatum. All of them. You hear me? Tatum should be brought up on conspiracy charges, as far as I'm concerned, along with these other people. They have actively and willingly participated in covering up whatever the truth is about Nolan Wells. And whatever that truth is the truth I'm here to find out. I have tried to consume every little piece of information available to me. I have done the research behind the scenes. I have studied. I'm not just talking out my booty here. Okay? I've pieced together what they've told me, and I've put it with what they provided for evidence, and I'm here to tell you it's a lie. It's not the truth. They've got us looking at boats that are not involved, and it's wasting our time. If we're going to be online debating whether or not that sea talk, all of that's fabrication. All of it, every bit of it is fabrication. I wish to God Tatum, Cox.
Y'all remember this picture right here that Warren had posted? This was AI. Everybody stepping on each other's feet in the picture. They feeding us AI pictures and AI videos and shit.
Or Paul Snick would come up and talk to me and let me ask him some questions. I'll prove every one of them are fake on the spot in real time. So I'm not fearful of anybody wanting to threaten me. They're going to let somebody know I'm over here talking shit. I ain't talking shit. I'm talking facts, and there's nothing they can do about that. I'm not worried about getting in trouble for the truth. That's the last thing on my mind. So I'll show you again here what's all wrong with this. You hear me? Pay attention. Look how much older Nolan is. All these guys are younger. They've got an older Nolan. That's all they've got to work with. You see, they weren't Nolan's friends. That's why they have to fake pictures. The street light behind his head, you don't get the light coming around in front of your head from a street light behind you. Look what they did down here on the feet, y'all. They put Nolan in this one and this one in the same identical flip-flops, who are notably Warren's. He wears them in every interview. These are identical legs. Do you see that? Those are identical down to the little crinkle on the same. You see that crinkle on the same leg? And then I got to looking. Not only are these two standing off the edge, you guys, which they are, these are the same feet. They put the same damn feet and shoes on these two guys. You can see the cutout around all the guys' head. Look at that. Don't make no sense for that light to be there. Look at the outline. What a terrible crop job they've done. They've got white wall tires. I'm old. These boys ain't that old to know about the white wall tires, guys. The black car.
They AI'd a picture just to make it look like they was tight-knit, to push this tight-knit agenda.
So you heard what's going on now, right? Bart, which is one of the gentlemen that was on the boat, I guess, he started dropping names. He then dropped 20 different names. So now the friends is mad at him. But you see how God is shaking up that tree? See, people don't understand. You can talk about us, but see, we trust God. And when I tell you God is going to shake up the foundation over there in Mississippi, over there in Jackson, let me tell you something. Or whatever city or township that's in, God is shaking up the tree where now they talking and they telling on each other. Bart, as you can see, he's dropping names. Now they pissed with him. Why you put my name in it? Listen, family, God is shaking up the tree and them cats is going down. Don't play with God. Don't play with God.
That's the end of the video. Y'all hop in the comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. She said, look, ain't nobody even heard Bart's name. Who the hell is Bart? Until we heard the Cito call. That goes to show you that it's real. And for Snapchat to send out something every 4th of July and it ain't there, what are we talking about, y'all? Also, don't forget, they are trying to let this die down. They want the people to forget Nolan Wells' name. So what I'm going to ask y'all is to go in the comment section and y'all write justice for Nolan Wells, because we got way too many leads, y'all, to let this go. This ain't like them other cases where we ain't got no leads and we ain't got no choice but not to talk about it because there ain't that many leads. But this one right here, we cannot let this slip through the crack of our fingers, y'all. We got to be on it. So make sure y'all like, hype, and subscribe to this video and get in the comment sections. Let me know what y'all think, man. Big Kesh signing out. I'm going, y'all.
We loved him dearly. Yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us, and I can say without a doubt, nobody wants to know what happened to him more than we do. I mean, we want to know what. I mean, Nolan was like a brother to all of us. Nolan was like a brother to all of us. We loved him dearly. Yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us, and I can say without a doubt, nobody wants to know what happened. What happened. Yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us, and I can say without a doubt, nobody wants to know what happened.
When the Friends did their interviews, as they spoke about Nolan Wells, it was something about their posture and the way that they responded to questions. But one thing we still need to find out, what happened to Nolan Wells? Was Nolan Wells on the boat? A commenter suggested that maybe they covered his body up with life jackets. We still want to know what happened to Nolan Wells.
This morning, let's talk about the Nolan Wells thing for a second. I was on a live last night, and this is the honest to God's truth, and I'm going to even post in the hashtags where you can go find and listen to it. So here's what happened. They killed Nolan Wells on the boat. They covered him up with the life jackets. They all knew he was on the boat. They just laid him on the back of the boat and got towed in part of the way. Then they got their boat running and they got on in. And when they got in, they couldn't figure out where they were going to put him or what they were going to do. So they dropped everybody off. Then they went back out to the island that the GPS doesn't show, but they did because they disconnected it. Okay? And none of them had their phones with them when they went back. So there wasn't any trace of them going back. And they dumped the body. They came back, took the boat out of the water, then went over there at 3 a.m. and washed the boat, thinking washing the boat would get all the DNA and everything off the boat. That's what they did. Now, I'm telling you, the stories are unbelievable at this point. You can't make this up. You know, first, it was about leaving the island. Well, that one blew up. Found out 2 people were at the island, saw him. Then the Coast Guard, Coast Guard call, CETO call. Nolan, oh my God, Nolan, get up. They heard that. Can't make it up. Not making it up. Then there was the phone, Warren's phone. Now, this. And also, last night, we have a bunch of body experts of their body movements in their interviews that they were not telling the truth. That they're body experts, they move their eyes like that or move like that or, they looked up or, something. But I'm telling you, the authorities should use these TikTok creators to solve this case. They are some of the smartest people you will ever encounter. They were talking about the justice system being unfair. I asked them what the 3 legislative bodies of justice were in the United States. They said, well, it's the state, the local, and the sheriff. Okay. It's amazing when you ask a simple question, you can't even get an answer. They don't know the port side from the starboard side on a boat, but yet they know all about boating. It's absolutely amazing, people.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our village pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the fuck up! Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our village pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut the fuck up!
CETO Assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our village pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
What did we just hear? What was that? Straight out to investigative reporter Crime Stories, Dave Mack. Did you just hear what I heard? Now, this has been transcribed, and this is the CETO dispatch call. Because, Dave, when I first heard this, I thought, has this been doctored? Is this real? Where's this coming from, Dave?
This is an official recording, Nancy, that is being issued, and it's shocking when you listen to this call for a tow, for the CETO. Going further into it, Nancy, you're picking apart all of the different voices that can be heard on this one phone call, trying to determine what is really taking place on this boat that is allegedly sitting in 31 feet of water, a depth of 31 feet. And a bilge pump not working, claiming they're sinking, and calling for help. And yet, in the background, are we really hearing all of this other activity?
The CETO call. We cannot forget about the CETO call. Something happened on that boat. Was Nolan Wells on the floor of that boat? We learned later that that particular boat had a series of different storage units right below the surface. We want to know, was Nolan Wells on that boat?
Now, I want you to look at this diagram carefully. We're talking about a 24-foot Triton, and what matters here is understand that what you see standing on the deck is not the entirety of the boat. This illustration separates the potential under-deck areas by color. Blue represents the boat storage area. That's the forward section of the vessel underneath the deck towards the nose of the boat. Depending on the exact Triton model, this area can contain enclosed storage access through deck hatches. Red represents the large central underdeck area. This is underneath the forward and middle portion of the deck. In this illustration, it's the largest enclosed area shown. But I want to be extremely clear. The red figure is there to illustrate scale and possibility. It's not evidence that Nolan was inside that compartment. Green represents the area underneath and around the center console and leaning post section. On boats of this type, portions of this area may be occupied by things such as the fuel tank, plumbing, wiring, storage, or other structural components. The exact configuration depends on the specific model. And finally, the purple represents the aft compartment, the rear of the boat near the transom and outboard motor. That area commonly contains batteries, electrical equipment, pumps, rigging, or storage. And that's why the exact boat matters. When somebody argues if Nolan had been on that boat, everybody would have seen him lying on the floor. My question is much more specific. Which floor, which compartment, which hatch, and was every accessible space on this particular 24-foot Triton documented and searched? This diagram doesn't prove that Nolan was underneath the deck. It shouldn't be presented as proof. What it does illustrate is why looking at a photograph of people standing above deck cannot by itself tell us what was or wasn't inside every enclosed portion of that vessel. So I don't want speculation. I want the exact Triton model. I want its factory layout. I want the measurements of those compartments. And I want to know which compartments investigators actually inspected. Because once we have those facts, we don't have to guess.
Little liars. Oh, these little liars. I told y'all that Jax was the ringleader. I told y'all he sat in this interview and he was telling stories about shit that he wasn't even there to witness. So let's break down some of the stuff that I heard in this interview. Let's start with Warren's first phone call, because y'all will remember that Warren said that he was over at Ava's house for that 4th of July party when they all started realizing that Nolan was missing, and he called Miss Christine at 11 o'clock.
One of the first things I told Miss Christine Wells in the first phone call that ever occurred with anything to do with Nolan Wells being gone, because I was the first person to call Miss Christine about anything. First phone call, anything to do with Nolan Wells was me making a phone call, Christine Wells. And one of the first things I said to her, with multiple witnesses here, pull up the phone call if you want. She said, oh, well, Nolan's location is with y'all at, where the house we were at. And I was like, well, no, he left his phone with us. I told her this.
And yesterday, the same time that this interview came out, Christine Wells said this.
360 says that he's on land, and he was like, well, no, I mean, when we have his phone.
So both versions of the story say that Warren didn't tell her about the phone until after she confronted him with the 360. Now, Warren tells Miss Christine that he knows somebody in the Coast Guard and that he's going to call them, which is very fucking different than calling the Coast Guard, which absolutely explains why the Coast Guard came out and said at first that they had not received a call from the kids that night. The Coast Guard's initial statement said they weren't informed until 12:30. Then the Coast Guard later changed their story and said, oh wait, actually we did. And it seems to me that first call was most likely an off the record to a friend kind of deal, which means these people freaked out and didn't call the Coast Guard until after all these people showed up at Jax's house. Which would explain why in the course of this interview, it went from Warren called the Coast Guard to we did. Now, when the subject turns to how the family got the phone back from these boys, you'll notice that there was a couple slip-ups.
Warren, you weren't at the house, and so you weren't there when they came to get the phone and all that. So
now remember, Warren just said that he wasn't at the house when the phone was got. And then Morgan talks about getting a phone call from one of the people in Christine Wells' group.
And how did they get the phone back?
So I got a call from a kid we went to high school with. He called me just asking me questions. He saw people posting on Snapchat, like the picture that was circulating.
Except this picture wasn't posted until July 5th. Well, how could this picture have been circulating on Snapchat that night? But let's continue.
And he called and he was asking questions. He was like, where's Nolan? When's the last time y'all seen him? And then he was like, so where are y'all at? And I told him, I said, we're at Jax's house. And then Warren got on the phone, and I don't know.
So they come to my house, right? And they kind of hold on before we get there. Was it confrontational or was it just just trying to find? It was confrontational.
Yeah, what did y'all agree? Yeah, he was 110%. He was very confrontational.
And when did this was this on the night of the 4th or the next day?
This was the night when this was before they came and got the phone.
So this is the night of the 4th, yes.
You guys are missing a part of the story. How did you get from Ava's house to Jax's house? Because Miss Christine is watching you guys on the Life 360. So suddenly she's seeing the phone leave one location and go to another. Of course I would be upset. And now all of a sudden Warren is there when the phone stuff starts happening. He's listening to the phone call. Now I need y'all to remember that Warren also said that the phone was in his truck on the first conversation, as we have from this report. Meaning if we were to believe Warren that he was not there when everybody showed up looking for the phone at some time in between 11 and 1 a.m., so then that would mean after they heard this angry phone call, Warren gets the phone out of his vehicle and puts it in Jax's house and then leaves.
There's probably like 10, 15 people in my house I don't even know. And they're all up in our faces, going crazy, asking where Nolan is, and we don't know. And finally they get into Wyatt's face, and they're like, where's your boat? Where's the boat at?
Demanding his address.
Demanding his address and stuff like that. And he finally ends up giving it to him. We give them the phone. They have the phone at this point. Then they get the address to his house. Then they go to his house. And they're searching all over his boat, what I heard and stuff like that. Well, anyways, I don't really know much about that. But they come back to my house at around 1 o'clock in the morning.
We called law enforcement. I was with Wyatt at the time. After we left Jackson's house that night, I was with Wyatt, and one person we were with saw that their location was headed towards Wyatt's house. And so Wyatt got on the phone with 911 and was like, hey, these people are on the way to my house or already at my house. My mom and my dad are there alone, and they know nothing about this. But Wyatt's mom actually
when they were looking at the boat, they were actually walking from the boat, and she came out and started talking to them.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Wyatt, Morgan, and Jax were all together. Warren was gone for some reason at this point. 10 to 15 people just barge into your house. Don't know why your grandparents weren't around. That might explain some things, huh? Guess y'all had the house all to your fucking self that weekend. But then they ask Wyatt for his address so that they can go look at the boat. Wyatt gives them the address. They start heading over there. Wyatt and Morgan get into a car and leave Jax's house. Somebody else that you were with that we aren't hearing about is tracking someone else's phone. I don't know if it was somebody who was with the group that they had access to, or if they were tracking Nolan's phone and they saw it was heading to Wyatt's house. And even though Wyatt gave them the address, and instead of calling his parents, he calls 911 and tells them, my parents don't know anything about what's going on. Can you send police over there? Now, mind you, it was about half an hour after being on the phone with Warren that Christine was able to actually call and report him missing. But she was having to go back and forth and go down to all these different agencies because nobody would fucking help her. And frankly, I want to know why all of this confrontation was left out of the fucking report. Like, if this family had to be removed from 2 different properties by the police, why is there no record of that? And in fact, it wasn't until after these confrontations that MDMR and Ocean Springs Police apparently had their little conversations about who was going to be taking over the case. Because remember, the Jackson County Sheriff Lieutenant told them that deputies had spoken with several friends that had traveled to the island on the vessel with Nolan, and that when they were left, he was in the company of an unknown female. So now, even though Warren had supposedly called the Coast Guard, all these family members are telling the police that the kid is missing. These are the people that last saw them. They're all like, we last saw him on the island. Still, the deputies said that they did not have reason to believe that there was any water-related exigencies or emergencies.
We get into the nitty gritty, and I told y'all, well, all of us told y'all that Nolan Wells did not just pass away or did not drown, et cetera, et cetera. So the argument that you guys hear circulating around in the video, it's Nolan having an argument with his so-called friends because they were trying to peer pressure him to do rugs. You heard that right. TikTok lingo, you get it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Nolan is a football student athlete who goes to college and is a football player. And he was telling them that he was not about to do no rugs. He was not about to test positive or test hot on it. And he was not about to mess up his scholarship for them. That is what their argument is about. I told y'all, see, y'all be wanting people to just accept the foolery that y'all be saying, and y'all are so innocent and y'all would never, these are his friends. That's why I don't call nobody a friend, because y'all are just such, because anyone is capable of doing anything at any time. Anyways, Ben Crump said he's going to get down to the nitty gritty, and this ain't it.
And we still want to know what happened to Nolan Wells. TikTok is going to solve this case. I want you guys to pay attention to this reenactment that they came up with on TikTok. We don't know exactly what happened to Nolan Wells, but we know something nefarious did.
Damn it, Bart, what the fuck?
Oh my God, is he dead?
I told you to stay away from him, Katie. This is your fault. We've got to cover this up. Call Jerry.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? Listen, there is a new breaking update in the Nolan Wells case, and this one, I guarantee you haven't heard anywhere else. All right, let me give you the story. It appears that the defense team is out here writing checks that their case cannot cash. You heard me right. All right. Now, what is the basis of this? All right. First of all, we got to get into what's happening. If you guys don't know, they have been slanging out like they're airbending literally the leaders of the Fire Nation. They're gonna I was about to say they're gonna sue Nancy Drew, but you know what? That can't be Nancy Grace's nickname. They're gonna sue Nancy Grace because Nancy Grace said Is that picture time stamped? How dare you, right? They're going to sue Al Sharpton, and you know Al Sharpton, baby, he is covered in the blood of lawyers. And he's like, I mean, if you want, it's their money. You got that GoFundMe. I will be happy to take you on in court. And while we added, have that GoFundMe be used to pay for my legal fees. And of course, they've been threatening Ben Crump, calling Nolan Obama a grifter, all this stuff. They've been taking such an aggressive legal stance. Many would say, even though they're the ones screaming, it's defamation, they're actually the ones committing defamation. But more importantly, let's talk about the way this bold, braggadocious thing, it looks like Ben Crump, Ahmad, and Eric actually circled the wagons and are literally taking them to the promised land. You guys, what am I talking about? I'm going to actually detail and break it down for you. However, keep in mind this, all right? And you haven't heard this anywhere else, I promise. Do you realize that this even if the civil rights team in Washington doesn't get involved because, you know, a lot's changed with Trump, even though there's the NAACP, the Black Caucus, the DOJ, who knows? Even if this isn't put up for a federal F.B.I. review that happens out of Washington, even if, baby, the magic number is the fact that they're actually going for a federal civil rights case because Nolan drowned on Horn Island. Now, here's where things get interesting, okay? Mississippi actually have laws that literally protect and prohibit exactly what I feel like the lawyers are doing. I'll explain those laws in a second. But do you know, because of those laws, this is giving firm ground, and this includes those CETO subpoenas that Ben Crump and them put out there, right? It is giving firm legal ground in order for the case to be moved to a new federal district court. Now, why is that important? I know what you're saying. It's still Mississippi. What are you going to do? Gulfport, which is over that section of, so the federal district in any state, if it's big enough, is divided into different things. You know, in New York, there's the Eastern District, there's a Southern District, right? East and West. Same thing with Mississippi. I think they have like 3 federal districts. Gulfport is what Ocean Springs and Jackson County is typically under. Now, as you know, these attorneys have been aggressively, and I'll get into this, I believe, poisoning the jury. All right. And it will work because even if it's a federal court, you got to take the jury from Gulfport, which, by the way, Gulfport is only 21% Black. However, from these shenanigans, it looks like there's a good chance that this federal case that Nolan's mama has is going to be moved to a county that is 82% Black. Did you hear what I'm saying? A county that is 82% Black. Baby, let those lawyers keep writing checks that I believe their case can't happen. Because, baby, this is fantastic news. And if you're saying TISA can't happen, it's not it's not easy. But the funny thing is, the DA, the governor, the mayor, and all those lawyers, it looks like it's making the case for this. It's actually going to be very, very easy. Okay, guys, let's get into the actual law, and I'll let you know a little bit about what's going on. But yeah, this is very, 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 very bad. And it looks like there is a very, very, very good case for this. And this completely annihilates the hometown advantage. Okay, hold on. Okay, I pulled the law up. I'm going to read off my phone. But again, a lot of people think that these these lawyers are making winning the local PR war. And I tend to agree they are. Again, let's not forget, how many times did those boys go on Officer Tatum and say, Mississippi looks out for Mississippi, right? How many times did Tatum and so many people connected to those boys in the case be like, why's Miss Christine agitating, right? How many times were they sitting there saying that, we'd be happy to share the information, but first Ben Crump has to go. Ben Crump is going up against Ocean Springs. Ben Crump this, Ben Crump that. They called a grieving mother a grifter because she needed to GoFundMe to pay for the autopsy and to pay for her legal fees to actually find out, 1, what happened to Nolan, but 2, to actually, if something did happen, to file a civil wrongful death suit, but to investigate what happened to. All right. The lawyers themselves have said that they're going to sue anybody for defamation that in any way implies those boys had something to do with it, even though I'm like, I think the bulk of the internet is asking what the boys' stories don't make sense. The DA does not seem to be questioning. The boys' stories are falling apart. They're showing pictures with no timestamps, but it all keeps going down to Ocean Springs is going to stick with Ocean Springs, and they don't know who they're messing with, and all this bravado and tough talk, even acting like when they bring people to court, they're going to be sitting right in a Mississippi courtroom, probably with Judge Ashley Cole presiding over it. The way they talk, listen, that's a joke, but the way they are talking about it, again, it appears they overplayed their hand, because yes, they might be winning the local PR war, but local PR battle, right? Because it looks like Ben Crump might win this war. Under the law, they're actually building a paper trail that's going to destroy their hometown advantage. Okay, so listen, I think that a lot of people that are watching this case, especially the ones that are like, how dare you ask any question? Who cares if those boys' stories don't make any sense? I don't think they realize how much these lawyers are talking too much. Now, hear me out. If it stays local in state court, this will work. This is how the good old boy network works. Now, I don't know if there's a good old boy network in Mississippi, but it will work because you got the DA, you got the sheriff, you even got the governor. And I think Ocean Springs only has like 19,000 people. And you know how they've all told us over and over, Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back, right? If anything, Christine acting like what happened to her boy makes her an outsider. But listen to this, right? Again, this is a very specific thing, what these lawyers are doing. As a matter of fact, it is called, checks notes, pre-trial publicity manipulation. All right. It is a thing that a lot of defense lawyers do, especially in a high stakes media thing. Again, I will always say, I don't understand why asking questions equals accusing those boys of being guilty. I think we all want to, it's sad, but Nolan's death to be accidental. I would hate for somebody to be involved, hate for somebody to be linked to a wrongful death, hate for someone to actually be a murderer, right? Either by pure fury, rage, or through manslaughter. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants this to be an accident more, I'm sure, now that he's passed away, than Nolan's mama. Do you know what I'm saying? Who wants to think that their child's final moments are such horrible final moments? But getting back to what I was saying, the pre-trial publicity manipulation. Now, this flies in a lot of states. However, Mississippi has a very strict legal rule. Rule 3.6 of professional conduct. Lawyers are legally banned from making public statements that have substantial likelihood to materially prejudice a case. So you guys, by flooding the Gulf Coast, by letting us know Ocean Springs going to have Ocean Springs back. And also, I don't know why. I don't know. It just sounds so, I guess, right? Ocean Springs going to have Ocean Springs back. You coming on Officer Tatum's threatening? Well, I don't know what they was doing. Anyway, right? By flooding the local coastal media with the narrative that Christine is, check notes, uncooperative, and that the town of Ocean Springs is under attack. They aren't just doing PR. They're legally poisoning the jury pool. Now, you guys, Rule 3.6, what does that do? Ben Crump I believe, is going to file this case in federal court. But federal court is still going to have an Ocean Springs jury. By invoking 3.6, where you bring up the Tatum interviews, you bring up what the lawyers are saying, you bring up the stuff about Ocean Springs, you bring up calling them a grifter, you bring up all these weird things that are happening, including if the civil rights investigation does start, if the independent federal investigation does start, you use that as a battering ram to ask the federal judge to remove the case into a venue that is more neutral. I'm sorry, jurisdiction that is more neutral. It can be another federal jurisdiction. It needs to be in Mississippi. I know, right? But you do have a right to move it to someplace that is more neutral. And get this, there are 2 counties that are more neutral. One has a 51% Black population. The other one has 82. Let me get the names of those counties. Hold on. Okay, so I got the figures, and baby, it looks like you're a race baiter. You're attacking Ocean Springs. Oh my God. It looks like they literally, again, wrote a check their math count. Okay, because listen, it looks like Ben Crump has a strong case to get it removed from. First of all, it is going to be in federal court because Nolan died on Horn Island. Horn Island is federal property. When you go in to see what the venue will be, it either has to be where the parties live and also where it occurred. Okay. You can do federal court because it occurred on federal land, Horn Island federal property. But hear me out on this one, right? Because also, again, when you get into, let me read you the numbers because this is very important. Gulfport, Southern Division. This is where the federal court, the lawsuit will initially be filed. Okay. Now get this. While the city of Gulfport itself has a Black population of around 38%, against Gulfport is where the federal district court also is, right? The broader federal jury pool draws from the surrounding coastal counties, including Jackson County, where the actual incident happened, which is only about 22% Black. The coastal region historically has had a much higher white majority. So when they go to actually get people from the jury pool, they will go to Jackson County. And again, it's only 22% Black. So basically, it could be a jury that there's maybe only 1 or 2 Black people on there, right? But and also keep in mind, people that draw from the Gulf, they are still like, I think if I listen to what the boys said on the Tatum interviews, and if I listen to what the defense attorney and everybody else seems to be implying, they stick together. So it's not just the fact of whether they're Black or not. It's like who has a loyalty to Ocean Springs and Jackson County. So that would be the problem in a jury selection. However, if it's removed, there's other places this can go in Mississippi. Keep in mind, they can't really move it out of state. I don't think they have a basis for that, but they can move the venue to Hattiesburg. That's the Eastern Division of Mississippi. It's located further inland. The city of Hattiesburg features a much higher minority presence with a population that is roughly 51% Black. And what's more, there's Jackson, the Northern Jackson Division. The state capital is one of the most demographically distinct areas in the country. Jackson's population is literally about 82% Black. You guys, Hattiesburg, which is at about 45 to 50% Black, creates a much more competitive, objective jury pool. But baby, if they can move it to Jackson, baby, this undercuts a lot, I believe, the defense's strategies of playing to local structural advantages, and also the fact that do you see what I'm saying? But also, I do want to say, too, you are also even getting people that are on the jury that aren't Black, that don't have to worry about whether they need to stick together in Ocean Springs, don't have any relationship or family ties to anybody in the Gulf. Do you see what I'm saying? But let me get back to my actual point. Again, by the end of this video, let me know in the comments, do you think that their mouths wrote a check that their butts can't cash? I think they did. Okay, so let me get back into this, right? Okay, so again, when I did my research, this looks like the part that the defense seemed completely miscalculated. Again, by launching that harassment campaign, including what many people think was the target to the way somebody targeted Christine's Knowles nursing license. It doesn't matter whether the defense attorneys had a role in that. I'm sure they're going to say they did, and I hope they did. They probably didn't. Who would be dumb enough to risk their bar license for a case, you know? My whole point of the matter is the fact that somebody did do that. Somebody in Ocean Springs did do that. The fact that the local authorities did not investigate that. The fact that she has had so many death threats, so many things happen that they are not even safe in Ocean Springs. This all goes in front of the judge as to why, one, this venue is not safe, and two, this venue and a jury pool cannot be non-biased. On top of that, during voir dire, that's when they can question the jury, like, so, you know, do you think they can aggressively question, saying, have you heard anything about what's going on in the media? Right? Do you have any personal ties to any of these people? Do you have this? And in a small town, everybody always has ties to everybody. So it would be more chance for them to move it out of that small majority white town into a more fair, egalitarian, diverse area, and especially if Black is the majority, you know. Who better to talk about what happens to Black people and judge what happened to Black people than a Black jury? Anyway, right? Again, the fact of her nursing license forced Christine to flee the county for safety. It looks like, and people are saying, you let me know if you think I'm wrong, that they just handed Ben the ultimate legal weapon in federal court. If you can prove that the local community checks notes has been turned into a hostile us versus them environment, then under that, the federal judge will grant change of venue. And again, because they poisoned that well in the majority white coastal Gulf Coast division, this this trial is likely to be moved inland to Jackson, Mississippi. That is an 82% Black population. Again, this local defense team strategy, and who knows it'll work, it tends to rely heavily on the fact, I believe, I don't know what's in their minds, right? I don't have an inside track, even though the defense strategist tends to. But it looks like they're relying heavily on the fact that they're talking straight to the thing. Ocean Springs. Ocean Springs is a tight-knit community. Those boys' parents are at the top of the hierarchy. Jackson County, same thing. Stepmother, a judge. Your mother's best friends with the mayor. There's all this stuff over and over and over again. Now, they will say, oh, please, doesn't make a difference. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But it looks cookie is going to be rolling into Jackson County and crumbling somewhere else, okay? Again, the whole strategy relies on the local hometown shield, but by the harassment the family has been experiencing, again, I think they're legally forcing this trial straight into the Mississippi federal thing. Also, just wanted to say, right? Now, we have to keep in mind the deposition trap, because once this case lands in a neutral federal court, and I believe that's what Ben Crump and them have been eyeing to let it land into a neutral federal court, the defense attorneys can no longer hide behind the DA if they're hiding, right? They can no longer hide behind local politics. The DA no longer has the keys. They can even put no, maybe not the attorneys, but they can subpoena records. They can see if there's any collusion. They can see, and this is why I think, again, my last video, I don't know if you saw it, this is why I think they got the CTO thing going on, because the CTO will actually show all the calls between everyone. And if you can show, why were you calling this person? Why is this? 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 Right? It also lays a case. Again, listen, I think that they figure that they're holding all the cards. And I think in a normal world, they are holding all the cards. But I think that's why they were so mad about Ben Crump. I think that's so mad about the GoFundMe. I think that's why they're so mad about everything, is because thanks to our generous support, and by ours, I mean everybody's, Christine has the best, not defense, the best lawyers, the best chance of getting justice, the best that money can buy. And we all know in America, money talks. And we also know in America, don't write checks your butt can't cash. And again, they're banking on this all staying local. But it looks like, I think that they overplayed their hands, and it looks like not only is it going to go federal, that's obvious, but it's going to be a change of venue to a neighboring federal district that understands, and it's just more neutral to both parties. It's more neutral to both parties. Anyway, you guys, listen, let me know what you think in the comments. I will talk to you later. Bye.
It's kind of like this. It's the good old boy system only because the black people who are in charge, they're going along with the status quo.
So they can keep their position.
Correct. Here's the thing. I fought a case for 14 months straight, and you can pull it up. And they had a councilman in Goshen, Mississippi, which is in Jackson County, named Rusty Anderson. And I went to the city hall every month for 14 months straight, twice a month, asking for his resignation.
What did he do?
Not to kill the city, but to get his resignation because he made racial comments about the black people because they had black spring break here. Probably like 2 to 3 years ago, because it was all in that little same time span.
Was that the one I was talking about, or that's a different person?
That's a different person. And still, the position on the NAACP, because I was the first vice in, was they gave me permission, our branch did, to fight the case. But we didn't get any more teeth to it because the state president, which is Robert James, didn't come in and try to do anything again. And what the comment was the councilman, who was Rusty Anderson, he said they had a shooting. And it really wasn't much, but what he said was, let them, because if I remember it right, he called them, but he was speaking about the young people, just let them kill each other. And then once they kill each other, then we'll come in and sort it all out. And then he made another comment, the reason why they was acting like that, because Obama added in that way. But what happened, we wouldn't have known anything about it. Somebody white that was in the chat room with him leaked the actual conversation. And when they leaked the conversation, that's how we got it. And so,
all right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. That is my brother from down there in Jackson County, Mississippi, Richard Jackson, who is exposing the whole entire network of racism, corruption, and greed that exists through that whole area. We're talking about Ocean Springs, Pascagoula, Moss Point, and Goshen. All 4 cities of Jackson County, he has specific incidents of how racism and corruption abounds. Now, if you don't remember, Mr. Jackson, I did a story about what Ocean Springs did to the black residents of the community when they're trying to take their property. And I played a clip when my brother was on the news, and this is what he said.
In the hallway, and he's on there, and he's singing. So what they want us to do is not listen to what we're hearing, but look at them and read what they're saying through their lying lips.
Patty Gaston and Carlos Barbosa are appointed by the mayor. Do you all feel like that these individuals should step down at this point?
Not only should they step down, they should be fired because Patty Gaston is an employee of the city of Ocean Springs. All these people right here, they pay for themselves. Think about all the time they've gone down the tour, thinking that they came down here, Mr. Anderson's here, and they thinking that she's doing a wonderful job, for them. Only to leave and then find out later on she talking behind their back. So you need somebody down there that not only appreciates your dollar, but they value you as a human. See everybody that's out here, we're all different nationalities. But the most important thing that we're all Mississippians. And the one thing about a Mississippian is we're gonna fight anytime that we think something is wrong.
All right, so that is my brother standing up against, once again, some council members in Ocean Springs who made racist comments. Now, I want to play you the rest of our call because the brother called and he just blew my mind with several incidents that you're going to hear about why there's probably going to be no justice in the Nolan Wells case. Even though I hate to admit it, but after you listen to him, he's going to tell you why Ocean Springs, Jackson County, Pascagoula, is what it is. Just listen.
Hello?
Hello, is this Mr. Jackson?
Yeah, this is Mr. Jackson. How you doing today?
Pretty good. It's Mr. Taylor. You Richard, right?
Hey, I'm Richard Jackson. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I'm Richard Taylor, man. And nice to meet you. And so,
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
so you was the dark-skinned gentleman that was talking at the end of the news clip.
That is me.
All right, sir. So that was the case where they was trying to label most of the black people's land as blight, and so they can come in and.
The blight and slum identifier.
Okay.
But I think the thing that didn't come out is this. I like how you said that when we took the case and we went in front of the federal judge, what the federal judge said was this. He said that he couldn't rule in the residents' favor because the city had already dropped the case because there is no blighted slum in this area. See, basically they were getting ready to commit fraud because they were trying to get the money. However, BP had already put up $2 million to purchase those people's land.
Okay.
They put up $2 million prior to any of this for the purchase of those people's land, and they were going to come back through and develop it. So what the citizens did was this. They continued on with the lawsuit because it's a Jim Crow era lawsuit. See, in other words, they did that so that it would benefit everybody around the state. See, because that law is still on the books, up and down the state, and they only are seeking $1. So on the appeal, which is actually getting ready to come up, we think that we actually have a great chance to win the case. But this is why I contacted you. We went to the NAACP, okay? And the NAACP, see, because I was the first vice in the local branch of the NAACP for this county. And the branch president, who's been there for 40 years, did not come to help with that case. The thing is, it's in the newspaper, he's siding with the city. So what wound up happening, when we got ready to sue the state, we went, and the Institute of Justice went to the state president, and he refused. His name is Robert James.
So the state president refused to help y'all too?
He refused to help us. So even when we got ready to appeal it, and they have a litany of lawyers, they asked him to just join the case so he would strengthen the case, and he said no. So that's when I told him, I said, we got all kind of problems here in the city of Ocean Springs. And I sent him all kind of issues. That's not the only case that I done fought down here. That's why I'm used to fighting. And we sent him all the documentation, and he said no. So what we said was, well, just let us get our own branch, and then we'll continue to fight on our own. And he told us no. And so we asked why. And they got a lot of stipulations to get a branch. We had over 300 people with their monies ready and all the stipulations that they're supposed to have, which entitles us to a hearing. They say no. Now, the reason why I want to tell you that is because here's what happened. Now, when this happened with Nolan Wells, the same branch president, which is Curly Clark, and if you get a chance, just go back and type up Curly Clark and Nolan Wells, he tells the citizens in this county not to do anything. He basically has the same answer as the sheriff, which is John Ledbetter. That's his friend. So the state and the national branch had to come in and give a different message or answer on the case. See, the local president isn't even speaking on this anymore.
And that's Curly. Is that Curly?
Yeah, that's Curly Clark. Yes. See, so he was telling black people around here, y'all just need to be quiet, leave this thing alone, and whenever they find the answer, they're gonna let you know. So I ran for the presidency, and I lost. No sour grapes or anything. But what happened, I had already told him, if I didn't win, I wasn't going back to the branch because he's been the president for 40 years, and he's done some good things. But when you go against him, and you don't have a say-so in the organization. So I was the guy that was over legal recourse. So when this case came out, had the guy that was over legal recourse got on it from the beginning, the NAACP wouldn't have had a choice but to be there. But they didn't. So the state branch of the NAACP didn't even allow all our members to vote. See, in other words, it's kind of like this. It's the good old boy system only because the black people who are in charge, they're going along with the status quo.
So they can keep their position.
Correct. Here's the thing. I fought a case for 14 months straight, and you can pull it up. And they had a councilman in Goshen, Mississippi, which is in Jackson County, named Rusty Anderson. And I went to the city hall every month for 14 months straight, twice a month, asking for his resignation.
What did he do?
Not to kill the city, but to get his resignation because he made racial comments about the black people because they had black spring break here. Probably like 2 to 3 years ago, because it was all in that little same time span.
Was that the one I was talking about, or that's a different person?
That's a different person. And still, the position on the NAACP, because I was the first vice in, was they gave me permission, our branch did, to fight the case. But we didn't get any more teeth to it because the state president, which is Robert James, didn't come in and try to do anything again. And what the comment was a councilman who was Rusty Anderson. He said they had a shooting. And it really wasn't much, but what he said was, let them, because if I remember it right, he called them, but he was speaking about the young people, just let them kill each other. And then once they kill each other, then we'll come in and sort it all out. And then he made another comment, the reason why they was acting like that, because Obama had it that way. But what happened, we wouldn't have known anything about it. Somebody white that was in the chat room with him leaked the actual conversation. And when they leaked the conversation, that's how we got it. And so he tried to deny it. But he came from his phone. MAC address and everything told me that. And he was going, I had got him to where he was going to give up his phone so I could get the MAC address. And that's when they went there and told him, you get that phone up to him, he's a lot smarter than what you think. And he going to try that IPO back to your phone and it's over with. Oh, yeah. So what he did was he refused to run this time. And because he refused to run, now the city of Goshen has a black alderman in his place. Barry Fuller.
The city of Goshen. Is that still in Jackson or is that
still in Jackson County, Mississippi?
Okay.
Then we had another case where this young lady, her last name was Coleman. And I'm trying to think of her first name. I think it was in Reno. But anyway, make a long story short, they had a tornado that occurred in Moss Point on Juneteenth of 2026 this year. So it's June 19th of 2023. This lady owned the business, had never been in trouble with the police in her life, and the power was out. So he came in and destroyed the little area where it was black at. Make a long story short, she goes to her business the next day. This policeman comes over and asks her what she's doing, and she said, I'm going to check my business. The guy turns around and asks her for some ID, and she was like, well, why? Now, she's on her own property. She don't own no mortgage, nothing. She's been there 9 years. And the guy's last name is Vidrine or whatever. But I got the information and the case number. What happens is he starts to try to put MMA hold moves on this woman, black woman. and they get into a scuffle. He can't arrest her, he can't get it down, and she fought him like a man. So the policemen, they come up and they separate him, stop him or whatever. And to make a long story short, they told her they could have sued her. But I'm talking about this guy kicked her in the back of the leg. He wasn't no kind of police, anything. We go to court, fight it, and when the thing is all over with, they throw her a bunch of tickets for the event. Well, I go to the bank, to the branch president, which is Curly Clark, and say, look, I need for you guys to see the video, and then once you see the video, we're going to protest. He says no. So she listens to me. We take it to federal court. So what winds up happening, they wind up having to settle with her just to kill the thing, maybe about a year or a year and a half later.
Moss Point, is that in Jackson too?
That's in Jackson County as well. But this guy was a Jackson County Sheriff deputy. See, they brought the Jackson County Sheriff deputies in to assist Moss Point Police because Moss Point Police didn't have that many policemen. So in other words, what I'm saying is this, is that they have these type of issues that have happened in Moss Point, Mississippi, which is in Jackson County, Goshen, Mississippi, which is in Jackson County, Ocean Springs, Mississippi, which is in Jackson County, and Pascagoula. See, all four of them are in Jackson County. Here's the thing. Most people down here already know me.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I want to say, Mr. Taylor. Some of the best people that I've met down here, they're from Ocean Springs. And this is what I'm going to take. There's a two-edged sword on this thing. When we got ready to fight that railroad district thing down here, the population is about 9% black.
Yeah.
Most of the citizens that live here aren't from here. So what happened, they're mostly artists, like tree huggers, they do paintings and stuff. Those people were the ones that actually spoke up and said, no, this isn't the type of place we is. But they got racist people here. So what they did was a guy that you showed, which was Kenny Holloway. So they got together and they voted him out. So in other words, they got a pocket of them. And unfortunately, the pocket of them that's here, they're extremely strong. And the way that they got them out was they voted them out of there. But for what you reported on, see, it's actually a great thing because here's the deal. They're in here. You ain't saying nothing wrong. But see, it takes stuff like this to bring the light to it. So now the ones that's actually racist and got the money and all this other stuff, they trying to hide like ain't nothing going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of them moving out. A lot of them jumping ship. Because somebody told me that there's like 600 houses up for sale in Ocean Springs now. And last year, about this time, it was only 300.
Okay, then. See, and those are the people who don't, let me make sure I say this right. If they can sell it, what they're doing is moving to this community, which is north of here, called Van Cleve, Mississippi.
Okay.
So what they're doing up in Van Cleve, Mississippi, is say the houses out here in Ocean Springs at 300, 400,000. They go to Van Cleve, buy them some land, and have a house built. 250, 300. That's gonna be 1,500 to dang near 2,000 square feet bigger than what they got, and they're gonna have acreage.
Yeah.
See, so they got a whole communion of them up there. See, listen, they got situations down here, man, to where they had this young kid maybe about 10 years ago now. And all he did was he left, you know, it's a bunch of stories with it. But anyway, this kid left going up there to the pizza place to meet these guys, white guys that had a business, and they had a whole bunch of these folks tied up into a lot of illegal activity.
Mm-hmm.
This kid disappeared. He never been seen, heard from, or nothing since then.
You talking about you said it was he was the descendants of Martin Luther King.
Okay, that kid there, that is Timothy Sutton.
So what's the other kid name?
I'll get that one for you. Because that one is in the newspaper as well. All you have to do is type that in and say, go check teen missing for about 10 years, and his name is going to pop up. And they're going to show where he went to the Pizza Hut. But Timothy Sutton, he's the resident, he's a relative of Dr. Martin Luther King. His father, which is Bill Sutton, I got their phone number. They live in Georgia. Right down there by this military base in South Georgia. And they've been here easy 8 or 9 times. This guy virtually moved here, didn't know nobody here, worked for this place that was similar to the people that pick up the money all the time, the Brinks truck people. Mm-hmm. But he worked for Garter World. Make a long story short, he never had nobody come visit him or nothing. And the neighbors thought something was kind of off. The dad and the mom saw him. This guy comes back and he leaves in his car. Car runs out of gas, probably about 55, 60 miles from here. In the house that it ran out at is right on the main highway. They left the car there, called the police, and the police didn't do nothing, said maybe they'll come back. These people took this boy's car and put it behind their house, black people, and that's where it stayed for 11 months. And these folks looking for him. And one day this lady called, said she just happened to go through the car, called one of their friends, and asked them, did they know Timothy Sutton? And she was like, well, yeah, he's missing. And she's like, well, I got his car right here. They beat it, come down here, and sure enough, his car is there. He has everything in his car, wallet and everything, but no Tim Sutton. And so they've been looking for him. So and you can talk to those people.
What was he into?
He wasn't into nothing.
He just met who? So who was he going to meet?
They don't know. They don't know anything. But in that place where he wound up missing, it's a place called Waynesboro, Mississippi, which is like in Wayne County. So it's like 2 counties north of here. They had a sheriff that was up there, and they had a lot of racial situations there. And so the black people up there, they wouldn't say nothing. By the same token, they had another case that you might be familiar with, where the young man, Raheem or Takeem Simmons or Summers, this was a kid that was running through the woods.
Oh, yeah, he's talking about Rasheem Carter.
Correct. Listen, his grandfather lives here in Morris Point. And so I had been working that case trying to get it, but see, the way the NAACP is structured, if it's not in your county, then you can't work the case. See, it goes to whatever county is there, whatever the next local branch is, unless the state NAACP says it's a state or national issue, then we all could go there. They never did that with that situation there. And so, Mr. The lawyer, Benjamin Crump, he came down the whole 9 yards and they ran the gamut. Nothing. The guy that they thought did all the stuff, they let him go, and he's back in North Carolina.
Yeah. That's a big case. That's a big case.
Because here's the other thing. This is what got me here. My dad used to be the mayor in Morris Point for 13 years. And make a long story short, he got killed in a car wreck. And so I was only supposed to be here for 6 months. 6. And then they were going to sell the estate. My dad got killed in a car wreck in 2005. This is 2026. And the case is not settled yet.
Wow.
And the reason it wasn't settled yet was because the lady that he was married to worked at the Chevron place down there. And each one of us was supposed to got a meal too apiece. Well, what they do down here is they run all your stuff into the court down there. Once they run into the local court and gets probated, if they find out you got some money, they delay this thing. And what I mean by that is, see, you burn up all your money trying to fight the cases. See, because they take inventory of everything that you got. And so all they do is they run you in a circle. See, they never settle your stuff. I got 1,000 court-generated documented pages from that courthouse down there, the Jackson County, what do they call this thing?
Clerk of court.
Yeah, the circuit court.
Yeah.
So we had been down there for so long, they appointed 2 special judges to my dad's case. His name is Lewis Jackson. And I'm going to send you a copy of his case and the title number on it. And you can pull that. And you're going to be like, huh? Listen, this lady committed fraud and a whole bunch of crimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean a thing. They turn that stuff over and they say, we're going to turn it in for evidence. But it don't go no further than that. So the first special judge we had, they let the session run out 2 years, and they gave us another special judge. When he finally heard the case, his way of not paying anything was saying that I had to use my money to protect my own interests to get the inheritance that we were doing. We wasn't not getting nothing. But they just settled the case because there was so many improprieties in it until all those judges down there basically should be in jail. So that's why I'm saying that Christine and Elmo, they can't go to court down there. They need to turn that thing around. They need to be in federal court.
Okay, and you said that guy Curly Clark didn't even want to help him, and the state NAACP, he didn't want to help him neither.
Oh no, because see, when the thing first started out, all you got to do is go back and look at the amount of time that went by from when it first came out, when you guys started kind of pushing it across the country, and then by the time they finally turned around and said, okay, well, we're going to join the case. See, because when he gave his little statement, it was after he found out that they had hired a lawyer. See, the way the NAACP works is this way. As long as you don't have a lawyer, then they're supposed to come in and represent you. So if they going to do the investigation first, then it don't take no time to find out that something went wrong out there. So he should have been on top of that it happened that Saturday. That Monday, he should have already been on it, if not by close of business, 5 o'clock. But he didn't. When he heard that they had hired Crump, whichever day they did that, that's when he came out and gave that little lightweight statement that he done gave. He ain't had nothing else to say since then.
Hey, y'all know it's deeper than what we know in that whole entire county. And, just for reference, I did have to look up the man's father, and this is him, the now late deceased Lewis Jackson. He was the first black mayor of Moss Point, which is in Jackson County. Now, this brother went through a whole lot of information that we're going to have to unpack piece by piece. But you're talking about an entire plot by the city of Ocean Springs to take an entire black people's neighborhood. I think they said it was like 300 houses. And you heard them say that BP had pledged $2 million for those houses. Now you think about $2 million for 300 houses. And what the city was going to do, they was going to condemn them, make them blight, and then basically give the people pennies for their houses so BP can come in and develop the land. And as you heard him say, it was the black NAACP leader locally that sided with the city, and also the state NAACP failed to come in and help them. So once again, we have those black faces in high places. Like you said, the local guy is friends
with Sheriff Ledbetter. And so this is the kind of racism we face, and we actually have others of our same hue participating in it. And you heard the racist comments by one of the council members of Goshen. And then, you know, we already did the story on the one with the council member in Ocean Springs. And you heard about 2 or 3 missing persons cases, as well as the women who was beat over there in Moss Point. Finally, the icing on the cake is this man is still in court fighting for his late father's estate, which his father died in a car accident, as you heard, in 2005. And so once again, this is Mr. Jackson. You heard him. The last thing he said is one thing about Mississippians: we know how to fight. And he is out there, been fighting for a long time. We have the same name. I said, yeah, you just like me. We're going to fight for those, or we're going to fight every time we see a cause that is not right. So, Lord willing, we're going to have him on the show. He's going to break everything down, documentation, videos. But this is what we are going to have to face with this Nolan Wells case. As he mentioned, he said, in order for them to get justice, they're going to have to take it out of the state of Mississippi, in which that is going to be hard to do because them powerful white people have powerful people that they're connected to in the federal arena as well. But as the scripture says, yeah, in all things, we are more than conquerors through Yah who strengthens us, as well as he has given us authority to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt us. And that is what I believe, and therefore we speak. Y'all let me know what you think about this video in the comments. We're going to bring the brother on to give us some more insight of the interworkings of Jackson County and all of the racism that we are just hearing about. Nolan Wells is just the tip of the iceberg. Y'all make sure y'all like.
Go figure. Follow me.